welcome, welcome. Oh my gosh, I am so excited. I'm just going to say my friend, Amy Dixon, with me today. And Amy is, well, spoiler alert, she is coming on board in her market center as a productivity coach. But today, what we're going to be talking about is how Amy started and has moved through her career and got to this point. So, Amy, thank you so much for joining me today. I'm super excited.
Thank you for having me. I'm excited to be here. It's going to be fun.
It is. It's going to be so much fun. And I'm going to learn things about you that I don't even know, which is my favorite part, my favorite part. And I know you're inspiring to me, so I know you're absolutely going to be inspiring to our listeners. So let's start at the very beginning, and not like the beginning, but let's start at like your beginning of your real estate career. How'd you get in real estate?
So funny. My high school golf coach was a great real estate agent, still is a great real estate agent. She's down in Florida now. But I was very computer savvy, and she was overwhelmed. And one of her admins took another job or whatever happened. And so she called me and said, I just need help. Can you do flyers for me? Can you do this for me? Can you run numbers for me? Can you print out lists so I can call them? I'm like, absolutely. Because at that point, I had three young elementary, middle school kids. And I would say that was my full-time career as being a mom for three
Being a
girls.
mom.
And and so I worked with Beth, and she kept on saying, you'd be a great agent. And I'd be like, I have no desire to be an agent. And for months, she said, you'd be a great agent. And then one day she said, you'd be a great buyer's agent. And I'm like, oh, what's a buyer's agent? And she said, well, I'd do all the listings and you'd just work with the buyers. And I'm like, well, the listings is the part that scares me to death. The buyers is fun. How do I become a buyer's agent? And of course,
She
now I
tricked
like,
you.
you tricked me.
She tricked
Absolutely.
you.
Charity. But that's how I started, is that, and then that at that point I came home and told my husband, I think I'm gonna take my real estate exam. He goes, I've been waiting for you to say that, because I guess everybody knew except me. And
Isn't
then
that how that goes sometimes?
it is. So took the night class and passed, and then started as a buyer's agent. And then so she worked with the listings and gave me all those crazy buyers that she didn't want to drive around in her car.
Yeah, okay. All right. Well, let's unpack that just a little bit, because the reason why I call this the Double Duty Agent podcast. Now, a lot of people talk about dual career agents, and I decided that I was going to coin the phrase double duty because this incorporates so many more. Like, you could have a W-2 job, you could be a full-time mom. That is a full-time
Mhm.
job that will take away hours from your real estate building and growing
Absolutely.
your real estate business. And then also, people, maybe they're taking care of the family member or someone else, and I wanted to make sure it's shared challenges, right? That time
Absolutely.
management and the challenges are very similar. So I love that you're double duty agent, you're a full-time mom. And then when you become a buyer's agent, do you stay? I know you stay double duty in the fact that you're still a mom, but do you
100%.
also, are you doing the admin and buyer's agent, or are you
I
just
was
doing the buyer's
doing
agent then?
I was doing the admin a little bit. That was just kind of a slippery slope, that all of a sudden I got start selling a lot of houses, and I'm like, can we hire somebody else to do this other part? Because I still, like, we still had all the swim practices and all the stuff, and I did do like little side gigs, side hustles that weren't
Mm-hmm.
even called side hustles back then. But so it just was a slow progression of me just becoming a full-time agent. Like, I had
Full-time agent.
to let go of all easy the easy
Mm.
money that was just coming
Yeah.
to me and things,
So you kind
right?
of eased into it then, is what I'm hearing.
Dipped my toe in.
Not
Yes,
like
ma'am.
a date and time and you're like, okay, today I'm going to be full time. It wasn't like that. It's just like
No,
you looked up
it
one
was
day and you're
it
like,
was
oh, I guess
more
I'm full time.
that's kind of how it happened. One day, it was about 6 months in, honestly. I was like, I
6 months
think I
in.
am full time. And full time for me was drop the kids off at school, do everything that I can, pick them up at 3 o'clock, go home, start dinner, and then leave and go on showings, and then try to
Okay.
be home to kiss them. Yeah. So
See the whole
that's
time.
when I was full time. But
Okay.
yeah.
So
Mhm.
you were a full-time mom, and then you were leveraged for another agent, and I think that's so
Yeah.
important. Then you became a
Mhm.
buyer's agent, which is still kind of leverage for the other agent. And then you said, we need more leverage, right?
Yeah.
So we know it's leverage,
Yep.
right? Now, I have to
Mhm.
ask one more thing. You said that the sellers scared you and the buyers were your choice. Did it stay that way?
I would say for the first 2 or so years that I didn't even want to deal with a listing because in my world, you can go in and see, take somebody in and say a terribly shag carpet bathroom and say that's not for them and walk away. And if you had the listing, you had to say, we understand that shag carpeting was the best 1987 had to offer. However, it's not what we like today. And that
I
just,
mean,
I didn't
Amy,
want
who
to deal
would
with
put
the
shag carpet in the bathroom? I mean, that's just,
I
I can
mean,
remember walking into a house and it had this shag carpet in the bathroom. And all I kept thinking is, I wonder if that's what the smell is, right? Like, is that what the smell is?
spoiler it was, yeah.
Who thought that was a good idea? I don't know. I don't know. All right.
But
So you didn't want to
yeah,
have to
and
have, you
so
didn't want to have the difficult conversation with the seller if you were the listing
mhm,
agent.
correct, correct. But
All
then
right.
that at that point, probably about 2 years in, I'm like, well, let's see what it would look like if, and then I
Mhm.
had a friend that wanted to sell their house. I'm like, okay, well, I
Okay.
can take care of this one.
All
So
right.
it was
Pick and
good.
choose.
Yeah.
Okay. So you're at this point, 2 years in, are you still on a team with the agent that, got you into real estate, or have you
I was
changed?
either on her team or I might probably around 2.5 years is when I switched to a different team. I
Okay.
left Keller Williams for actually 40 days and 40 nights. And
40
then I
days
came
and
back.
40 nights. It's a story.
So then actually the whole team came back. He's like, you showed up every day wearing red and black and you kept on saying, well, at Keller. And so then we all came over. Yeah.
So you have a unique perspective, though. You know what it's
Mhm.
like on the other side of the fence,
I do.
not greener.
I do. No, it was not
No,
greener.
not greener. All right. So that now you're on the team, and now are you doing both buyers and sellers? And
Yes, yes. I
okay.
was probably 65, 70% buyers up until maybe 3 or 4 years ago.
Okay.
And
But
then,
you know what?
yeah,
This is really fun, Amy, because I am thinking back at all of the episodes that we've had so far. And I know this is a question that comes up a lot with agents that I coach, especially brand new agents that are trying to feel their way, or double duty agents that are thinking about transitioning and they're wondering if a team might be a good place for them. Can you talk on that a little bit? Like what the benefits for an agent are to being on a team?
the right team, first of all, gives you camaraderie, which I
Mm.
think is so important. And just with our whole culture being culture and to, just finding the right people, finding your kind of crazy people is, I think, most important.
Yes, we
Um,
need that. We need our own
your own
kind of
kind
crazy.
but then I think the leverage and being able to come in and saying to your fantastic admin person, hey, I just got this accepted offer. Have at it. Have fun.
Go. Yeah.
And, then I would negotiate the inspections. And then if the appraisal came back good, then I just showed up at the closing table. So I still made it a very a point that I would still talk to my people once a week and say, hey, here everything's going well from our fantastic admin, whoever it was. But that was all I had to do. I didn't have to stress because as a single agent, my mind was always probably about 4:30 in the morning going, oh, when's that deadline? When is that due?
Yeah.
So when you're on a team and you have somebody that's their only job, then you don't have to wake up at 4:30 and think about that. So
That's because somebody else has
uh,
got it for you. I love that. Tell me about lead generation. How did lead generation work for you?
I'm a very, very social person. And I would rather meet people face to face all day long than make phone calls. Phone calls are not my forte, but I do them because they are important, right?
You have to.
Um,
Yes.
you have to. I mean, I make a game out of it. Like on days when I didn't want to sit down and make phone calls, I would put 20 business cards in my back pocket and I'm like, okay, you can go home when you have no more business cards.
You got to talk to
Um,
people. Yeah.
you got to talk to people face to face. funny story. I went out today. I was delivering wrapping paper to wrap up the end of the year,
Ah,
and
my.
went, yep, little pop by. Could not remember this guy's name, but I knew where his house was, and I'm like, it's gonna come to me when I get there. And I pull up, and there's a moving truck in his driveway, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm too late. And then he walks out, and he sees me, and so I'm like, well, I'll take my punches. I should have been in touch. No, he's pre-moving. He said, I was just going to call you next week. Can we sell my house next week?
Oh, look, you were just in the
So
right place at the right
just the
time.
right
Because I
place, right
wonder if he
time,
was
right?
really going to call you.
I don't know, but I'm very happy that I was there. I'll tell you that.
Yes.
So,
Oh my gosh, I love that.
so
That's the
yeah.
best pop
So
by story, Amy, I've ever heard.
thank you. And it's wrapping paper. It's
Yeah.
easy and it's
Yeah.
fun.
So for our
So
listeners
I'm
that maybe don't
yeah.
know what we're talking about, pop buys, right? Go to Pinterest. It's the best place to get pop buy information, in my opinion. Anyways, go to Pinterest and just type in pop buy, and you'll find all of these amazing creative people who will tell you these amazing ways that you can go surprise and delight your people. So
And it's more than
wrapping
just
up the year.
popcorn. The popcorn will come up a lot, but dig deep. Wrapping up the
Yeah,
new
deep,
year. A
deep.
whole big
Yeah,
tube of
wrapping up the
wrapping
new
paper.
year. I
Or
love
wrapping
that.
up
All
the
right.
year. Yeah. So anyway, I am I will make my phone calls probably 2 or 3 days a week, but then I am all about being on Facebook and connecting with people, or just meeting swim moms in the stands. Like my
Yeah.
kids, when I was in school pickup line, I had to be there early because we had to be in the front of the row so then we could get out and get the kids to swim practice on time. But I would get out and I would just walk the line of cars and meet people and say, do you have any
Chit
questions about
chat.
real estate while we're here? Yeah.
Yeah. I
And
love
then,
that. See,
we'd ask about their kid. So belly to
yeah. Now,
belly.
now, if you're an introvert and this sounds terrifying, don't feel like this is what you have to do, right? But if you're a social
Mhm.
person, just know that all you have to do is be you. Amy, I'm just seeing you, just being exactly the person that I know, just walking up and down the line, chit chatting with people, and they don't even realize that you're lead generating.
No, no.
No,
And people love little things. Like when at the end of summer, or the beginning of summer, I had a bunch of lettuce, and I just walked down with lettuce and handed people lettuce. I'm like, I've got too much in my garden,
yeah,
and you make friends that way. And then 5 years later, they call you and like, remember that time that I met you when you handed me some leaf
bunch of lettuce
lettuce?
from your garden. Yeah, exactly.
So
Okay, I love it. So what I'm hearing from you is that you have figured out how to make lead generation natural.
yes,
Yeah.
that's
And when
that's
it's
the goal.
natural, how difficult is it?
It is not
Scale of 1 to
difficult.
10.
It's one. It's easy.
No,
It's
not
maybe
difficult at
it's
all.
maybe a two, because sometimes you have to plan. Sometimes you have to go to the store and buy the wrapping paper.
Or sometimes
But
you have that moment that, oh no, I might be too late.
yeah, yeah.
But you weren't.
But you
You weren't.
aren't. No.
You
And
weren't.
that's,
Okay.
keep in touch with your people. We talked about it so much. I just did the ALC clinic and we just talked about it. You only need 201 people in your database, and you only need to talk to them 4 times a year, but
4 times a year.
touch
Yeah.
them, touch them more. So it's
Yeah, the
easy.
touching them thing always makes me feel a little weird. I just got to say that. I wish they came up with a new word for that instead of 36 touch.
Yes.
36
Yeah.
contact, I don't know, touch
So
just
any better. No.
so that's what always comes to mind when I hear that. All right. So Amy, where are you right now? I know I spoiler alert, I already told them where you're headed, but tell me about your real estate business right now.
So I am back to being a single agent. I am most likely going to be the productivity coach, becoming the beginning of the year.
I love that.
A tsunami could happen. Who knows? I
Let's not
sell
call that into
about,
being.
yeah. I sell about somewhere between 20 to 28 homes a year, and that's all I need to do, because I still, even though my babies are 22, 24, and 26, now we have weddings coming up instead of big swim
Mm.
meets and stuff, so I'm still double
And then you get
dutying
to
it,
be grandma.
doing that. I can't wait.
Oh, yeah, you get to be grandma. I can love it.
Yeah.
Okay. So full-time solo agent and then going to
Mhm.
most likely,
Productivity.
eh,
Yeah,
be the
we'll just
productivity
call it.
coach and help other agents build and grow their
Mhm.
business. And I love that. And
Absolutely.
they're going to be very lucky, those agents. Very, very lucky.
I'm excited. I've
Yeah.
always, and in every career that I've had, I've always been a teacher, mentor person, and that's just where my heart is happiest. So it
Well, we
makes
have to
sense.
follow our purpose, right? If we're not following our purpose, then everything's frustrating. And yeah, for
Yes.
me, that's always my litmus test. When I feel frustrated, I know I'm not on the right path. Yeah. Yeah. All right. So tell me along the way. So you're a mom. You were a full time mom all along. So really, you were
Mhm.
double duty your entire career, and then maybe multi duty sometimes. And tell me, how did you counterbalance being a mom and being an agent and working with buyers and sellers? I know you gave us your schedule a little bit ago, but sometimes I would imagine the schedule didn't work out. How did you counterbalance everything? Did you have
Mostly it didn't work out. Yeah, mostly you have to erase and replace, right? I will always put my girls and my family first. That's just
Mhm.
always how it has been, and that's just who I am. We've talked. I lost my mom at way too young, so that's how I've lived my life. Is that I don't want to have them look back and say, "Well, I guess I wish she would have done that." So my girls have always been foremost, and so there's a lot of times that I would pull my computer out at 10 p.m. And there's still times that I'll pull my computer out at 10 p.m.
Mhm.
and get the work done that you have to get done.
Yeah.
So, and sometimes it's waking up early, and sometimes it's just saying no to the second hour of a coffee and chit chat of some with someone. But you just have to
Absolutely.
make those decisions on what is important. And at the end of the day, can you look back and say, okay, I accomplished at least one of my goals for the day.
Yeah.
So
Well, it's the big
because
rock conversation, right? You figure out what's the most important thing that you could do. And we learn this in the one thing, right? What's the one thing that I can do today that makes everything else easier or unnecessary? And we have that. And I think most agents, and if you're not at Keller Williams, it's okay. Like that's not a judgment. No, none of us, whether it's 40 days or 40 nights or what that is, we might want to talk to you, but I'm just saying, but it's God, family, and business. And when I was
Mhm.
choosing a brokerage, that was the number one reason why I chose Keller Williams, because I came from the corporate world, and I promise you that was not the order.
That was not the order, no.